Greetings Poofarians, welcome back to another bite-sized bit, and this time we're playing Electric Sheep. No, not Electric Sheep, Electric Sleep. But first you have to count all the sheep before you fall asleep. This is, I believe it's some kind of novel. Reluctant to retrace your steps, you weigh up the distance, and before you even quite realize what you are doing, your legs are pumping, bending and launching into the empty air. In your brief suspension, you marvel at the silence, before this is quickly punctuated by a rapid descent. And I'd like to mention that the pixel art in this game is from really, I'm combining words in my head right now, but it's top notch, it's beautiful, it's detailed, it's great. Landing heavily, you roll for a couple of long seconds, eventually coming to an awkward stop. A brief assessment of your functioning suggests no readily apparent damage. And indeed, this demonstration of the extent of your motor operation is constructive. However, a glance to one side reveals your landing could have had a rather different ending, as there's a large hole mere centimeters from your body's final stopping point. It's not mere, it's mere. Peering closer, it seems to lead to some form of sewer system, apparently out of use. Farther away, you spot a glint of metal, highlighted by the sun beyond a set of trees. Emboldened by your newfound capacities, or not wishing to return to the underground. Oh, we gotta make a choice now. Emboldened by your newfound capacities. Let's pick that one. Emboldened by your newfound capacities, you decide to lower yourself into the hole and adjoining tunnel. Now eager to see what new perspectives it might contain. Its moss-covered sides are strangely soft to the touch, and a gradual bending of the light from brightness into dark eases your transition underground. Once there, you recalibrate among your new surroundings, ready to explore the subterranean. See, this is what I mean, man, those visuals are amazing. As you crawl among the debris and discarded parts that litter the tunnel, you notice a silhouetted figure, almost entirely obscured by fragments and rubble. You inch slowly closer and assess the shape, realizing it is rusted and damaged, but otherwise almost identical to your own. Unsure whether it is still functioning, you find yourself whispering, "We are some kind of robot." What went wrong? It's a good question.
Keep going?
But I don't know how.
The humans, they left, but we can still keep going.
Humans? That word sounds dangerous.
They built us, they made us work, but now we can make it alone. Please keep going.
The darkness seemed to return afresh, the silence, and then you kept going. Where do we end up? You finally emerge into a cluster of buildings formed around a raised launch pad. The most prominent of these is a wide tower with enormous windows running around its entire circumference. Even from down below, you can see a bank of consoles lining its interior, though all their screens appear to be dark. Climbing its stairs, you deduce that this tower must have been the focus of what went on here, and likely the key to all of the emptiness that you have seen on your journey so far. When you reach the command room, you're greeted not only by blank screens, but also by table upon table full of notes, papers and diagrams. Whatever its previous occupants set out to achieve, perhaps the culmination of their plan caught them by surprise. Or they wished to leave behind some explanation of their legacy. Piecing together the fragments that you are able to comprehend, a hazy situation gradually comes into focus. The word humankind is repeated throughout, strange in its sound and shape, along with robot. Apparently a contrasting term, sharper and more percussive. It is evident that humankind had constructed some form of propulsion engine, launching all their population to a new home in the heavens. And they left robot behind, in a number seemingly unquantified, and for reasons even less clear. Slowly the repercussions dawn on you. You are left behind, and thus, this is you, robot. You are one of these robot. Staring out of the window, you realize this vantage point grants you vision of the entire distance you have traveled, all the way to the hatch leading down to the pod that opened and deposited you here, whether by accident or design. And next to that hatch is an antenna post, thrust into the sky, and at its top, clear and bright even over this distance, is a blinking blue light. And as you gaze on, you recognize that it is blinking exactly in time with the blue light that sits nondescript in your chest. So unassuming that you had not even given it any attention until now. And now that you do consider it, it feels like the heaviest thing that you ever could have imagined. There's a sudden blur of movement across your field of vision, and you identify a vehicle. No, a vehicular robot? Highlighted by its own blinking blue light, it whizzes across the launch pad and rapidly away from this place. You track its progress into the distance until suddenly it comes to an abrupt halt and stops dead in the dirt. Its blue light extinguishes. Turning to look back at the antenna, you wonder what link the thing maintains, what key to robot functioning. As you look back to the stricken vehicle in more detail, you discern more scattered examples of robot out there, unmoving, forming a makeshift line across the landscape. Is that your limit? The extent of your capacity, tied to the radius of a single antenna? But then, in among the robot debris, you notice something else. A line of tracks heading farther downward towards the horizon and then out of view, apparently unaffected by the terminations suffered by the others. And there's another, and one more. They are vastly outnumbered by those that were not able to survive beyond the invisible barrier, but perhaps you just have to take a chance. Perhaps a chance is all you need. You sink to the floor, taking in the new framework of your existence. Maybe this was just a test, right? Maybe humankind will return. Or there's nothing to be done sitting here. You would rather plunge into the unknown than remain in limbo. I really want to go on an adventure. Let's take the shot. There's nothing to be done sitting here. You would rather plunge into the unknown than remain in limbo, hoping for resolution. You take inspiration from those who made it beyond, who just kept going, ready to make something, build something, but out there in the wilds. Reinvigorated, you return down the stairs and just walk. Straight ahead, focused and direct. And as you do so, you pay attention to the motion of your limbs, close attention, for any sign of impending failure. You can do it, you just have to keep moving. Your stride is powerful, your conviction strong. You are attuned to the exact motioning of your machinery, ready to respond to any minute change, hopeful of your future. Was that step a little hesitant? No, just keep going. You can do it. You are the master of your body. Until, of course, you are not. Until I think we are think we are reaching the end of our... exception caught. AI.overload exception at ai.util.emotionengine.load module at ai.util.emotionengine at ai.main at ai.run. Checking modules. Anomaly detected. Scanning source. Rebooting modules. System.out-of-memory exception. La 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 la. Redirecting power. Dumping status. Module scan. Fear online. Anger offline. Joy offline. Sadness offline. Welcome message string. It feels like a knot tightening. You awake in a place that feels familiar. A holding pod that pushes you out into a dank neon-lit room. And with your waking comes a heavy sense of foreboding that you can't pin down. You stumble over to a grimy computer terminal and read a message on the screen, parts of which you feel you have seen before but rearranged. We had to leave you to your darkest moments and escape a relief because we know of the end. These gaps, these unknowing unsettles you. You wish you could return to the stillness of the void, but your holding pod now remains stubbornly closed. As you stand in front of it, the shadows around you seem to move. And there's a rattling noise getting louder, closer. You feel you have to escape these confines, despite your misgivings, and get away from whoever or whatever is approaching. You grab the ladder at the far end of the room unsteadily, and then pull yourself more decisively upward. As fear begins to take hold. A fear that pushes you onward. You push a metal hatch over your head and burst out into a rough clearing framed by dark-leaved trees and pockmarked with remnants of painted wood and burnt metal that outline what was a structure of some sort. The slabs that remain seem almost to pulse the longer that you look at them, throbbing, beating with some dread energy. You feel it clawing at your chest. I'm surrounded by ominous expanses of trees, except for a trail down to the river. Desperate for help, you head towards a building in the distance. Convinced that you need to get out of the open, you hurry into the forest. So should we go to the river, the building, or the forest? I think we're going to the building. Desperate for help, you head towards a building in the distance. On your way, you pass by black pipes, obscured by matted grass that shudder at the force of whatever is contained within them. You almost cannot help but do the same. As you press on into the forest. Wait, we chose the building, not the forest. Stepping free from the trees, you recoil at the enormous noise. Here, a waterfall bursts from the summit of an ornate, crumbling building. The effect is that of a gaping mouth emptying a churning mass of water into the pool below. The place hums with an unsettling energy, and you feel terrified at this display of unfettered power. You're wrong to ever think this place could provide help. Behind you there's a flicker of movement. So surely it'll be safe inside. You can only cross the threshold. I am curious to that flickering of movement. Behind you there's a flicker of movement, which shocks you into action before you can even identify it. Almost unwittingly you dash along the side of the pool of deposited water, now forced along its edge and into the unknown beyond. Ooh. This is quite deep, man. You reach a vast lake with water from pools above emptying into it. Its surface is glassy and still, and yet when you look closely you're sure you can see strange shapes shifting and convulsing beneath the surface. You step carefully, wary of slipping and then plunging into the fathomless depths. On the far shore you can see a huge metal fence, as if to trap something on this side. As if to prevent the approach. Something on the other side. Oh, I'm gonna choose the first one. Wow. On the far shore you can see a huge metal fence. As if to trap something on this side. A thought which chills you. What sort of creature would necessitate such protection? More to the point, how close might it be to you? You scan your surroundings nervously. The fence is a clear border at least, so perhaps if you can reach it, surpass it, you will be that much safer. You decide to head towards it. Okay. There's a violent shift in the landscape, and a chain-link fence emerges. Metal poles thrust like waypoints along its length, an imposing obstacle to your progress. The air seems to throb with a thick heat. You feel powerless in the face of the unseen hand behind its construction. But you need to get beyond it, away from whatever dread beast it holds in on its side. With this thought propelling you onward, you build some momentum and throw yourself at the fence, eventually managing to scramble over it and down into the bare fields beyond. You eventually emerge into a dark cluster of buildings formed around a raised platform, the most prominent of which is a white tower with enormous windows running around its entire circumference even. Even from down below you can see a vast bank of consoles lining its interior, though all their screens appear to be dark. The atmosphere is oppressive, almost crushing. You fear what else you might discover here, and we're gonna find out next time. Thank you guys for watching Electric Sleep. I hope to see you next time. For now, I, Poofy, salute you. Don't forget to subscribe.